Today we are going to discuss about the active passive voice. In fact, it is all about its introduction. Active voice and passive voice. Question arises that what does mean by active voice? So when the doer means subject, keep it remember here we are talking about doer, and doer means subject of action. Subject of an action, if it is known, it is mentioned, especially at the place of subject, then we call it active voice. Active voice uses direct action verbs. It has a clearly defined actor and actions. Examples, he combs his hair. He. So who is doer? He. And where is it? It is at the place of subject. So here, subject place has been occupied by the subject. That's why it is active voice. My brother won the match. Who won the match? My brother. My brother is the one who basically performed this action, who did it, and it is used at the place of subject. And who is my brother? He is doer. The cobbler mends the shoes. Who mends the shoes? The cobbler. So when we talk about the doer of the action is present, is known, plus it is at the place of subject. We call such type of sentences active voice. On the other hand, we have passive voice. If the definition of active voice is clear, it will not be too difficult to grasp the definition of passive voice. When the doer, subject of action is not known, it is called passive voice. Or in simple, when at the place of subject, doer is not present, rather than this, receiver of the action is present, we call such sentences passive voice. It emphasizes what was found, not who did the finding. It's all about the receiver of the action rather than to the doer of the action. Examples, his hair were combed. Who did this? Who combed his hair? Not mentioned. Might be possible mother, might be possible father or someone else, but it is not mentioned. So at the place of subject, receiver of the action is there. So that's why we call it passive voice. Mistakes have been made. Who made the mistakes? No idea. But mistakes are here, and mistakes are not the doer of the action. English is spoken all over the world. Who basically speaks, it is not mentioned. But English is spoken all around the world, all over the world. I have been invited in the party. Who has invited me? It is not mentioned. But I have been invited, and I am, in fact, the receiver of the action. I am not the doer of the action. So, in these examples, we have tried to prove when we talk about passive voice, first thing might be possible in sentences, doer of the action is not present. Sometimes it's understood who could be the doer of the action. That's why we do not mention it. Sometimes we feel that it is not very important to reveal who is the doer of the action, or in simple, at the place of subject, if rather than doer, receiver of the action is present, then we call it passive voice. Which verb form is used, which is this is very important, largely a matter of what you want to emphasize. Always third form of the verb is used always. Whenever you will make active to passive, you will always use verb third form. Otherwise, it will not be accepted as a passive voice. Difference: active voice versus passive voice. Emphasizes on action taken by a subject. On the other hand, in passive voice, emphasizes what was found. Actor or doer of the action is unknown or not used at the place of subject. Clarifies who was responsible for the action, and passive voice hides who was responsible for the action. Active voice useful in writing, passive voice useful in writing. Then in active voice, we rely more on the active voice, and in passive voice, we more rely on the passive voice. Active voice eliminates a backward tense shift, and on the other hand, in passive voice, we have tense shift. All right, which sentence is more effective? Stay away from the hot wire, it can kill you. And B, the hot wire should be avoided, you can be killed by it. So once you start reading, you may understand which one is more effective. A is more effective, active voice rather than B, though both are in use. Now let's have our quick review of it. In this lesson, we have learned the following: definition of active voice and passive voice, main differences between active and passive voice, and you can solve the exercises. And here we go. I think today our objective was to differentiate between active and passive, and in the upcoming videos, we will discuss about its exercises. So here we are going to end our today's video.